All right, so we're looking at the new Italian heavy tanks on the test server. So I went ahead and went through and unlocked all these earlier. So we're going to start at tier 7. So we get 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we have them in the garage. I was only able to get into games with the tier 10 just because as of right now there's only 1,200 people on this particular test server because it's 8:30 p.m. East Coast time, North America, NA. So the first one we want to look at is a tier 10. I'm not going to try to pronounce these names. So what we see is something's got pretty decent armor hold down. Nothing groundbreaking. I was pinned through the turret once. I'm not quite sure where the weak spots are yet without looking at the tanks GG. This is just a first impression. And a couple of the big things that stick out to me. Number one, on the gun. So it's 127 millimeter. Decent damage for a tier 10, 490 heat and APCR. So it does carry heat and APCR rounds and high explosive. 268 standard pin, 325 pin on the heat. Again, decent. 3 shells in the magazine. It's an auto reloader. One of the first glaring issues that I have with it's the 4-second time for loading between shots. So fire a shot, you gotta wait 4 seconds to shoot your other shot. And the standard reload of 2017 15.7. So your first shell is going to take 20 seconds, your second's going to take 17, and your third's going to take 15.7. So if you're only shooting one at a time, you're going to be, standard without any crew skills, equipment, anything like that. You're going to be at 15.7. Yeah, it's not that good. The aim time's fine. The dispersion's fine. At 0.33 is actually pretty decent. So I popped this up for comparison earlier, just with some other auto-loading heavies, and then I just threw one standard, kind of your standard heavy, the IS-7. So we look at the average damage is, right there on par, right even with the IS-7. Your penetration's higher than all these at 268. There's some other useless stats here, but the big thing, your dispersion. Again, I've got a BIA crew with equipment, so dispersion's down to 0.3, which is better than any of the other ones. But then you get your damage per minute. Damage per minute is 2006. That is 1,081 less than the Kronwagen. Is 1,255 less than the T-57 Heavy. 704 less than the 50B. And even your standard fair tank, you're 549 less damage per minute. And with the spec'd out crew, you're at 18.7 on your first, 15.9 on your second, 14.7 reload on your third. So even if you fired as a single shotter, your reload's really low, and you've got that 4 seconds between. So even if you want to pop out, you got a chance to unload all three with that 4-second interclip time. It's killer. So I'm not going to write this off as being a bad tank by any means, but it's going to be extremely average. Now let's go in. Let's bring the tech tree back up, and we're going to add the 9, the 8, and the 7. Go in, and let's get rid of these tanks so we can kind of see them side by side. Average damage 400 with 242 pin. And, again, decent for a tier 9. Your tier 8, 320. 220. Your tier 7, 240 with the 202. No, that's pretty decent. Reload on your 8 and 9 is the same, with your fastest being 11.9. your DPM all hovering pretty low, 2,000. Actually, your DPM on the tier 9 is a little better than the tier 10. The tier 8's really low at 1,600, and your tier 7, it's only 59 DPM less than your tier 10. Ouch. Oof. That's pretty rough. So tier 7 doesn't look that bad. I wish I got a chance to play with the tier 7, but unfortunately with the test server, like I said, I was not able to get into any games. So let's compare that to one of the best tier 7s, the T29. So average damage is less, pens comparable. DPM is comparable. You're 100 less. That's way more competitive than, you know, like being 1,000 less in the same tier tank. Hull armor, it's about the same. Of course, you're not gonna beat the turret armor on that, but again, I think the tier 7 is it's not going to be that bad. So we'll definitely look forward to playing through the tier 7 tank. Tier 8's where you start with the auto reload mechanic. On both its guns, you have 2 different 105s on the tier 8. Gain a little bit of pen with the upgraded gun. Reload, dispersion, everything looks to be about the same. So yeah, just a little bit of DPM there.